Hello, ladies.
Hello, hello.
Miss Mayla Ash, Gina. Gina,
Wait,
you know what?
My last name?
Yeah, you saw that, right? How do you say your last name properly? Because I'll mess it up.
Cavallero.
Cavallero.
Chevy Cavalier. It's like the car with an O.
Cavallero.
Cavallero.
Yes.
Is that Italian?
Very.
So you
He was like ultimately Italian.
very, very Italian.
100%. Yes.
When you came on, I'm like, who is this? Who is this girl? You look so different. You look great. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
Not saying you didn't look good before. I mean, you look really like, you just look really happy, and you know, you just, I love this look. This is a good look for you.
Thank you.
Mayla, looking always fabulous, fashionista.
Well, the truth is, I always feel like I need to keep up with you when I come on this show. So it's always like that extra 5 minutes. It's just like, well, just let me put on some lipstick at least.
You know, I got a little bit of lipstick on, nothing spectacular. So as you know, ladies, we had the kickoff to the women's bodybuilding season with the Vancouver Island Showdown. I don't know, did you guys follow any of that at all?
Yeah, it did.
Who was the most, I mean, obviously Sherry winning. I mean, she looked phenomenal, but what did you guys think of came in second?
The improvements that she made compared, because when I saw her name on the list, you know, we always do it. It's just like, oh, okay, wait a minute. And so I went and like looked her up real quick, and the improvements that she's made since last, I'm like, she looks great.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I thought she looked great. Well, I thought everybody looked great. And it was so, the thing that I love the most is the fact that we showed up for this show. You know, it being the first show, and a lot of people kind of forget that unlike the other divisions, women's bodybuilding has to put a lot into that prep getting ready for a show. So that first show of the season, sometimes, especially coming off the holidays, it's hard trying to start that prep. So it was great to see that many women, you know, bring top quality work to a show this early in the season. So I was really pleased. I felt like everybody showed up to rock it out. So yeah. I mean, I felt
all
like
of these girls brought it. You know, they definitely did, for sure.
Yeah. The conditioning was on point. It was great to see such a great showing this early in the season. I think if we remember last season, everyone was so critical of the conditioning that we were seeing at these earlier shows. And we definitely didn't see that this time.
No.
And the fact that we had one athlete last year at Vancouver, you know, and kudos to the promoter for keeping us there, right?
Yeah.
So it's awesome to see. I think it was a total of 8, right?
It was a total of 8, yeah. 8 in women's bodybuilding, I think 7 in women's physique. And then, you know, wellness only had 3, but it is what it is.
Wellness had 3? I thought there were only 2 in wellness.
There were 2, and then we had a last-minute entry.
Oh, yes, that is true.
Nicolette Burns.
Yes, she did last minute.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah. But, you know, like I said, when I saw the women's bodybuilding, I was very blown away. First of all, it's in Victoria. You know, that's a long trip for us.
Yes.
You know. Prize money was decent. You know what I mean? Corey, he went above and beyond. I think he took care of the makeup, the tanning, you know, all these things. He made it very accommodating for the women. Whatever you needed, he was there. You know, so
that's great.
It's always nice to have that, as you guys know, competing at the shows when you have a promoter who just goes above and beyond and takes care of you, right?
Yes.
So with that being said, with this competition we just had, do you think that this is going to change the way for the next show in line, like the New York Pro?
I think so. I think it's setting a standard for the season, which needs to occur compared to last season. You know, and, you know, Sherry, we saw come with this great conditioning, I think 2 shows last year where she placed second, I think 2 times, either second or third. You know, and she brought a bigger, you know, better package, more symmetry, and that stellar conditioning again. So I think they've set the bar and they've set it high.
Yeah,
so I'm excited
they
to
did.
see this.
And let me tell you, Lisa, go ahead, Mayla, I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, I'm in agreement with Gina. I'm just like, I felt like we needed this show to happen the way that it did so that we did set a standard, a high standard. You know, I feel like a lot of times what happens is that the first couple of shows gives an impression about what might be acceptable.
Yes.
So you have a lot of people rushing to the stage who should not be who are not ready to get on stage at the time because they looked at the previous show. They was like, oh, well, if she was able to place top 5, you know, and last year I placed above her, I need to hurry up and get on stage. And so I think this has really set that bar that's just like, look, if you plan on stepping on the stage for this division at this level, you better bring it. Mm-hmm. So I'm happy. I'm happy about what happened at this show. So I'm excited. And I think it is. I think it's going to set a precedence for these next couple of shows. And it's just going to get bigger and it's going to get better.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we really don't know. Like the next show, I'm assuming is New York Pro, right?
Yes, that's what I'm looking at. 5 weeks.
Yeah,
it's like
so
5 weeks.
5 weeks away, and I think we don't really know a lot of people going into this show, though.
Yeah, but I think it's one of those things that because of some of the changes that have happened, I think a lot of people are keeping it close to their chest about whether or not they're going to go, you know, so everybody's kind of holding it. Right. And I think it's because of that whole thing, especially when you see what came to this last show, you know, people are just like, I'm not going to start putting it out there. I'm going to do this show because if I don't get my conditioning and my look the way it needs to be, I don't want people putting me on blast before the show if I back out at the last minute. You know what I mean? So.
Well, let me ask you ladies something, though. Don't you think it's better for the athlete to put themselves out there? That way they're held accountable. You know, hey, set that date, have that show, and then, you know, put it out on your social media to get more fans interested. I mean, what do you think, Mayla, Gina?
I'll let you go first.
Okay, thanks. I think that's actually important. I think we as athletes need to do our part to build excitement and anticipation about the shows. And it seems other divisions, I mean, men's bodybuilding are exemplary when it comes to putting out there what they're doing and living online and social media and look at the excitement it builds, right? So I think we've got a bit of a habit with women's bodybuilding that we keep it all hidden. And I think it's a disservice to us as a division because we need support. We need to create the fan excitement. And there's fans there that love us and want to see us, but they don't know what we're doing. So I would love to see more girls say, hey, this is the show I'm doing. You know, worst case, if things go awry and you have to change your plans, no big deal. Nobody's going to, I don't think, come screaming at you because you had to shift to another show. But, you know, I think even though we don't know, you know, a good deal of girls that are going to do New York, I expect there to be a good number again because realistically, there's only a handful of shows. Yeah. We got to show up. If you have any, you know, intentions of making it to the Olympia, if you wait to the last 3 shows of the season, there was only 4 or 5 before it, right?
Right.
So, you know, I think we'll see another great lineup.
Yeah. Mayla, what do you think?
Well, I go both ways on it. I feel that just like what Gina's saying, I'm in agreement with we do as the athletes, especially with the fans, when it comes to them buying the pay-per-view and even showing up at the shows. We need to start letting them know that we're going to be at those shows. But at the same time, I think that when we put too much exposure of ourselves, mm-hmm. you kind of lose that hype. I'm like, one of the things I feel was the reason that these shows, the seats got filled, is that the fans didn't know what was going to happen. But now, because everybody is showing everything every day, every week, all the conditioning, I'm like, you almost lose that excitement, you know, and it does get exciting, you know, to see what's happening in the transformation. But I do feel that we do need to promote more what shows we're planning on doing. But, and I know there's going to be some people out there that don't agree with this, but I think that we need to start showing less in social media. We need to go a little dark.
So what do you mean? What do you mean showing less? Like, don't.
Well, the thing is that we need to start recreating that excitement, that anticipation. If you're showing everything, if you're showing all your check-ins, every
Right,
day,
yeah.
every week coming
Right.
into the show. There's no excitement. There's no anticipation. You know, and if you're showing it all, and then all the media channels are grabbing it and doing the comparisons and everything, why would I buy the pay-per-view if I know that if I just wait a couple of hours, I can get it over here?
That's
You know,
true.
we're losing some of that anticipation to make people, you know, we should put teasers out there. We should promote that we're going to do the show and put teasers out there to get that hype, to make people want to try to drive to the show if they can go, or to buy the pay-per-view, and not just go on social media trying to grab all that information.
Yeah.
So I'm on both sides of the fence, which, you know, it's just for us to grow our division and to grow that hype, like you say, with men's bodybuilding, which in my opinion, I feel like a part of the reason they do so much promoting of themselves is because they have more sponsors.
Right.
You know, the more sponsors you have, the more you do have to put yourself out there. But I feel that we need to grow our division in a way of just growing that anticipation, so that people want to start buying the pay-per-view, want to start trying to get to the shows to see us. So we just need to like reduce exposure and put those teasers out there and just say, you know, hey, if you want to see, you know, this next level package, make sure you show up, make sure you dial in, you know, you buy that pay-per-view and everything. So I'm on both sides, but I do agree that to help the promoters so that they want to have us in the shows, that we need to start promoting the shows and let them know we're going to be there. You need to be there too. We're going to be there. Make sure you dial in. Make sure you buy that pay-per-view. So
I think this is the problem that we have, is that these athletes aren't really promoting the shows that they're doing, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I mean, is that they're just like, look, and I'm all for being proud of the improvements and the progress that you make. But this sport, at the end of the day, it's a sport. And on the other side, it's a business. And we're not trying to help those promoters promote those shows so that they're trying to make some kind of profit off of this. Then yes, it will get to the point they're going to have to start cutting.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on trifecta.
And so we can't be angry if, like Gina said, if we're not promoting ourselves and all of a sudden they're cutting us, and we're not promoting ourselves, and then what shows up is not stellar, then, you know, we can't turn around and talk about, I can't believe, you know, you dropped us. And it was just like, well, you didn't help them.
Well, it's,
So-
it's the same if somebody doesn't show up at a show. You know, if we only have one competitor showing up, I mean, do you expect the promoter to promote women's bodybuilding the next year if you only had one?
Right. And I'm so thankful that Corey continued. You know, and one thing that I do appreciate about him is like what you said, Isabel. One of the things that he's good for doing is that he reaches out to the competitors. Hey, what do you need from us? Because he knows it's just like Vancouver is, you know, that's not an easy trip.
No.
What would entice you to add this to your list and everything? And that's one of the things I've always appreciated about him. You know, and that's one of the things I actually told him. I was just like, you know, coming out of the, you know, because the Olympia and Rising Phoenix and everything is so late in the year, you know, I told him, I said, it's hard for those competitors to try to turn around and start a prep that soon.
Yeah.
You know, and I told him, I was just like, if your show was a little later in the year, I would love to try to come out there. I said, but you got to let the body rest if you're really trying to bring it in our division. You got to let that body rest to really bring a great package. And I just told him, I was just like, I would love to try to come out there. And I know a lot of other bodybuilders, high-level that would love to come out there. But we would do a disservice if we rushed to try to get to your stage. You know, and so I was just like, but the idea of him always trying to, every year, he's always reaching out. You know, what else would it do? What would help, you know, people, you know, athletes come to this show? What would make it worth it? So I appreciate those promoters that do. They look out for us, and they're trying to do what they can for the women, because it's more expensive for women than it is for men.
Oh, yeah.
To do shows. So it's appreciated.
Gina, on an average, what do you think a woman bodybuilder spends for one contest prep? What do you think?
Oh my God. I've never really added it up because I don't want to know. You know, even if we just look at the show expenses between, you know, the suit expense, hair, makeup, travel, you know, we're easily putting probably $4,000 to $5,000 just to get to the show and perform, right? Let's not add up.
Mayla's like, I don't know.
I was like,
that's a deal. That'd be a deal.
I mean, it's a fortune. We're spending a lot of money for what, you know.
Seriously though, Gina, give us a number. Give me a number. What do you think a woman would spend, bodybuilder would spend in one prep?
One prep?
Oh God.
12 weeks. What we say, Mayla? 12-week prep? 20?
No. If we're talking about bringing stellar, we're talking about at least 16 to 18 weeks. 18-week prep.
Yeah, 18 weeks. Prep. I'm gonna say 12,000.
Okay, that's pretty. Mayla, what do you think?
You know what? Yeah, I'm like, because I'm thinking about it. I'm just like, you know, because we always think about, you know, how much are we spending and all this stuff like this. Well, okay, let's talk about it. I'm just like, there's the food, there is the self care. You know, because a lot of people we kind of forget about that. The massages, the chiropractic care. You know,
it adds up.
Just like, yeah, that whole thing. It's like then you get into that whole thing of just like, yeah, I'm just like,
yeah. Listen, I'll put it out there. Look, for me, for example, I'm not shy. I do Botox treatments. I have microdermabrasion. You know, I mean, my face isn't stiff, but you know, I take care of. You know, you want to look pretty on stage. You got to do what you got to do, and it costs money, right?
And that's what I mean. It's just like we have to go through so much to bring such not only a top quality athletic, but a beautiful and attractive for our own self, whatever that attractiveness is, you know, to bring that package on stage, you know, that it costs.
What about no anal bleaching though? We don't. Sorry.
Well, I'm sorry. You know, I don't know about other federations, but you know, since we got rid of the moon pose, we don't need to worry about.
Listen, I'm not going to put her name out there, but there was one bodybuilder back in the day. I kid you not. I don't know what you call the pose where you're facing the back and you squat down, your legs are spread open. This girl literally exposed herself for like a few seconds to the judges. So there you're seeing her little, you know, right there on display. There's pictures of it online, and I'm like, wow. But yeah, anyway, she was bleached. But anyway.
Good
but
thing.
Yes, I'm just like, you know, trying to get the skin smooth, you know, you got to either, you know, wax and all this stuff. I'm like, there's so much that we have to go
Look,
through.
waxing and laser is expensive.
Laser, right?
Right, wax or laser. Yeah. And then
12,000 is probably way too low. It's probably more like the equivalent of like $1,000 a week. We're probably
$1,000 a week. Oy.
Oh God, you don't have to say that.
Probably collectively. If we did the math and divided it all out, you know.
So then comes up my next question. We spend all this money to get ready for that. How many seconds of fame are we on stage? A minute, and how many minutes are we on stage? A few minutes?
What we get like a minute for the individual presentation, and then we do our comparisons, and then there's the call outs. Let's say maybe at the pro level, let's say maybe 15 minutes.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you think, Gina? You think it's that long?
I think it's maybe 10. I mean, we got 2 minutes, you know,
I guess it depends on who you are and how you're placing.
No, I'm just talking about prelims.
Okay.
I'm talking about prelims because, you know, every show, it might only be the top 10 that get out there. But the prelims, all of us get out there. All of us go through our individuals. All of us go through the comparisons. All of us go through call outs. So just prelims, maybe 15 minutes to get through all of that.
Let's say $15,000 you spend on prep, and you only get 15 minutes of fame on stage.
$1,000 a minute.
Jesus, we're in the wrong damn sport.
It is.
Isabel, I didn't want to do this math. Really, I didn't need to know.
That's what I'm sitting there like. I'm dying a little bit inside now that I'm thinking.
Look, you know, we talk about the guys. Could you imagine what a guy's prep is? An open male bodybuilder, and they get paid $10,000. So for us female bodybuilders, we don't get paid much for these, you know, Olympia qualifiers.
Yeah,
So-
but they get paid more, but they also, a lot of them get sponsors.
That's
You know,
true.
they have sponsors
Yeah.
that take care of a lot of that stuff, you know, taking care of all that food that they have to eat, taking care of their
Coaching.
right, you know, their travel and their accommodations and everything like that. You know, they have people.
Yeah.
You know, I always tell people that. I'm like, us women, we need people.
We do need people.
You know, you see the guys.
do.
the
I
older
can't
guys,
pay
they
my
got
rent with a
people.
chicken breast, you know?
But
So-
yeah, I'm like, it's,
What do you think we
Yeah,
can
I think-
do? I mean, the reason why it's going on with the contest money is because obviously we do it, you guys do it because you love the sport. So is the prize money a big deal to you?
I think for me, I'm like, it's because I love the sport.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just like, but I've been an athlete pretty much all my life. I'm just like, you know, I was in track and field. Women in track and field, period. It wasn't about the money. So
Right.
it's just like, I love doing it. So I'm like, from amateur to pro, I'm just like, it was never about the money. From the different, coming through the divisions, it wasn't about the money. It was about the love of the sport. It was
Right.
about the love of the competition. You know, now the money doesn't hurt. Don't get me wrong, crossing over to women's physique into women's bodybuilding, that little extra bump at certain shows, it doesn't hurt. But at the end of the day, it's only that top 5 that get that money. If it's the top 5,
Well, sometimes
the
it's
three.
top 3.
Right. And so, but the thing is that it's really not about the money. But it would show more appreciation, that we were more appreciated if the money was higher. But at the same time, we go back to what Gina was saying. You know, if we're not promoting the shows more of the fans are not coming to see us. If they're not coming to see us, then trying to ask or trying to expect more money, more of a cut of that money becomes a little bit, to me, it becomes a little bit difficult to scream out. You know, it's just like, we're not promoting it. Our division as a whole are not promoting these shows as much. We're not trying to champion our fans to show up, to buy the pay-per-view. So to turn around and saying, oh, we do. I think all the divisions deserve a little more money, but at the same time, if we're not helping those promoters promote these shows so they're making more money, you know, it's kind of a double-edged sword and everything. So, but, you know, for me, like at the end of the day, I love to compete. I love the sport. And so.
And Gina, I know you love the sport very much. Mayla, did you get a chance to see her video she posted on her entry to the Masters Olympia?
I didn't get to see the
Oh, it's a
video.
very nicely done video. So Gina, you started at a late age?
I did.
What?
I didn't get on the stage until I was 46.
46.
Yep.
Wow. And why did you get involved in it?
Always wanted to. I mean, I have pictures of me as like a 5-year-old flexing my bicep. You know, I just was enamored with muscle and watched bodybuilding. You know, back then, it was on TV. It was on like Saturday's Wide World of Sports. You know, you could watch, you know, the Olympia and Mr. Universe at that time. And, you know, I just never had the opportunity or the time wasn't right to get into it. You know, I dabbled with it when I was in my late 20s, but never made it to the stage. And then finally in my 40s, it worked. And the minute I stepped on stage, they almost had to drag me off. I was just like, oh, this is it. You know, a friend of mine that was an expediter is like, you realize you don't have to smile when you do a back double. I'm like, I can't help it. You know?
I love it.
So,
You won't believe you know what she has, Mayla, that she owns that I'm so jealous of? What do you call that machine that you put the electrodes when you're working out?
yeah, it's an NX Pro. It does neuromuscular stimulation.
Oh my God. Have you tried that, Mayla?
Oh, yes. Yes,
like
I've
it?
tried it. And I am jealous of the fact that she has one.
I'm jealous too.
You can have one too. But, Yeah, I mean, I bought that specifically really to help Hella last year to come back.
But do you use it on yourself when you're training? You just stick it on yourself and just start?
I am finally, finally I can use it on myself, and I'm stimming almost everything. So daily I have an amazing workout partner who's, totally willing to help me. It's a little hard to manage by yourself. Kind of to turn it up and get everything set right. So yeah, I use it almost every day. I use it for recovery when I'm at home. And it's making a huge difference. It's an amazing technique.
Well,
I
guys,
agree with that. It is amazing. It is amazing.
Hopefully I can use it someday. Is it pretty expensive a session for these things?
I don't think they're not expensive sessions, but it also depends on and you can correct me, Gina. I've had 2 people here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that provide the service. And so it's not really expensive per session. But it depends on also if you're doing it for the workout or the recovery aspect. So I'm like, it's probably in the long run, it would be cheaper to purchase the unit if you're using it for yourself.
Use it consistently, sure. But it's a pretty significant investment.
Yeah.
They're cheap. But, and as far as the cost, it does get costly. It's essentially you're hiring a coach, a personal trainer. Yeah. And I do charge more with it than if I was just training someone without it, because there's my cost in the machine, the overhead to run it, my expertise. I did training to get certified in it. It's just not just like something you can just buy and whip out and stick on people and, you can cross your fingers. You don't cause them damage.
Can I stick it on a guy's balls when he's training legs or
they
something?
Actually say in the instruction manual not to.
Why are you looking at me like Mayla?
So of course somebody thought of it, right?
I had to throw that in there.
So, yeah, stay away from balls, breasts.
I've actually done the breast.
Real quick, I'm so sorry. I know that we're recording and everything, but a storm is coming through, and I think that I'm a little too dark.
Yeah, you are dark, yes.
Yep. So can we give me just a second? I want to turn some lights on.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
I thought her power went out, but I'm like, no.
There we go. Let there be light.
How does that?
There we go.
I'm like looking, I'm thinking, am I fading in the background?
No. Like, what happened?
So I was like, okay, the sun is gone and the storm is coming through. So
it's not a bad storm, I hope, right?
There we go. Well, I'm like, it doesn't supposed to be that bad. So,
and you're in Dallas?
Yes, I'm in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Wizard of Oz stuff there.
Wizard of Oz. Going back to Vancouver, though, I want to ask you, ladies, what did you guys think of KEISHA Oliver?
Oh.
Great showing. She's, compared to what we saw last year, definitely improved. So, I'm thinking that we'll probably see even more improvements from her throughout the year. So I don't expect this to be her one and done.
Mayla, what'd you think?
I'm in agreement. I'm just like, she showed really stellar improvement.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I also don't believe, and if it is, it'll be kind of disappointing, but I don't believe it's going to be her last show. I think that she's going to come back and do another show or 2, but I'm just like, I'm hoping.
I would love to see her jump into the New York Pro as well as Julia.
Yeah.
So the KEISHA came from Women's Physique?
Yes.
Yeah, but she was bodybuilding last year, though, right?
Yeah,
she crossed over, but she was bodybuilding all last year. So.
Okay. And Julia came from, this was her women's bodybuilding debut at this show, right?
Debut.
Okay. Yes.
You know who I was a little bit disappointed in at this Vancouver is, I think Lisa KUDREY should have stayed in women's. Yeah.
I was surprised.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was, because everybody was like, oh, it must be a typo. She's got her the wrong thing. That's what I was thinking at first. But, some people are just like, I think maybe women's bodybuilding maybe was just a little bit too much for her. And she might have thought that it was just easier, or she felt like I don't know what her feedback was from last year.
Sure.
You know, so,
Yeah.
and the amount of shows that because she did a lot of shows to get those points and everything. Yeah. So maybe she thought with the changes and everything, it might have been a better option for her. But I would have loved for her to have, you know, stayed. But, you know, we all have to go where we feel works best for our body. So,
yeah, we do.
You know,
we do.
I really was impressed with the changes and improvements ANDREA SAURER made.
Oh yeah, me too. Sure. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You know, she took last year off, so it's great to see her back on stage this year. She did say that she didn't bring the conditioning as far as glutes not having them peeled striated because she was under the impression that they were trying to move away from that. And I think that impression comes from the show Tarek did, where he was talking about the Olympia review and saying, we don't really want to see these crazy striated glutes anymore in bodybuilding, right? So, but yet.
We just had this conversation, right, Mayla, about the striated glutes. So I think that what Sherry and Lisa had, and let's be real, the women's physique girl, MOHNS from France, holy smokes. That conditioning is what women's physique is, in my opinion. Very great shredded glutes. But see, listen, I'm not all about the shredded glutes either, but I think there's a line, you know, where you can see the striations. I just don't want to see them like chiseled like a guy. That's what I don't want to see.
I feel like that's what people are misunderstanding.
Yeah.
And maybe, and I'm always quick to say this. I'm like, a lot of times with a lot of us who have been in the sport, you know, we use coined phrases a lot, but we all understand the different ramifications of it. I'm just like, we always say shredded glutes. A lot of people, they always assume shredded glutes, what men's body. I'm like, but there's different well-conditioned glutes. You know, where you're hitting certain poses and you can see striations. True shredded, when you're walking around and you are like clamshelled like 24/7, there's a certain degree of shredded that women's bodybuilding shouldn't have. But yes, we should have very conditioned glutes that when you hit certain poses, like that side chest or that side track, and you squat down in that, you should see that separation. And so I feel like a lot of times people are listening to commentaries or comments and they're taking it too much of an extreme of, oh, well, they don't want to see that. No, we still want to see that. But you shouldn't go to such an extreme of what the men have. You know, there still should be a level of, well, I'm not going to go there because the second I say the word, all of a sudden, well, Mayla said softness. And so we...
I'll say it for you.
But you know, but I'm like, I feel that's what it is. I'm just like, I think a lot of times there's a misunderstanding because we interchange the word shredded and conditioning and, you know, dry, you know, and when you're in the sport, we kind of understand when we look at somebody, we understand what the person is trying to convey. But when somebody, you know, if somebody who's not very versed, for lack of better terms, if they're not very versed or have a true understanding of the way a word can be used, the basic words, I guess, in our sport can be used, they take it the wrong direction. They take it to the extreme of the opposite.
What do you mean by the basic words? What do you mean by that?
Well, when we talk about conditioning,
okay,
you know, when somebody says, or they say that you need to bring your size down a little bit. There's too many times that I've heard, I've had somebody come to me and they say, oh, well, the judges say that I'm too big. I need to bring my size down. So obviously I need to move to women's bodybuilding. And I always look at them and just think, okay, do you want me to tell you the truth or do you just want me to support what you're saying? And it's like, well, I need to understand. I was like, you got too much fat on you. They need you to bring your size down. They're not saying that you're too big.
You're too big.
And so that's the thing that upsets me is that, you know, there are a lot of women who have jumped into women's bodybuilding because they've gotten that, you know, they've gotten a kind critique of saying you need to bring your size down a little bit. When that translates, you still got a little bit too much fat on you. And you need to bring that conditioning. Or we say, oh, you know, you're a little too conditioned or you're a little too dry. Oh, they're saying I need to be softer. No, they're saying maybe not use many diuretics.
True.
You know, and so that whole dry, condition, size, you know, it's just like, it gets misinterpreted. And I always tell people, I'm just like, make sure you understand what that specific judge is saying. If they tell you something, just say, hey, so what does that mean specifically?
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
So that you understand what that phrase means.
You know what? I like the way you put it, Mayla, because for me, I'm learning something different. You know, like the size, bringing you're too big. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would. You mean there's some judges that will say you're fat. There's some judges that will say you look like you're 10 weeks out. You know,
yeah.
But yeah, there's other ones that color code. So we need to have you like a decoder, like what the certain words. So I think on another episode here, we're gonna have to certain words I'm gonna throw at you. Okay, Mayla, what does this mean? So our audience can understand, our athletes can understand when a judge says it's this. I'm learning something new.
You know, I think it's because we, you know, people get so. This is a very subjective sport. You know, we all know that. And but the thing is that, let's be honest, there are a lot of people who they'll get their critique, and all of a sudden they're on Instagram. You know, I can't believe that judge, and they're just so mean. And I'm like, what? But you were a little jiggly.
Yeah.
It's just like, so why are you crying out on? And so I think it's that whole trying to, you know, sugarcoat or that whole woo-woo. Hey,
woo-woo.
Great
Hold
for
my
showing
hand.
up. Hey,
yeah.
You know, if you want to bring the size down a little bit and saying, you know, you were a little, you know, you're a little too, you were 10 weeks out. You know, maybe you should have held off. And the thing that, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you know,
I'm afraid to correct you. You kidding me?
The things that correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm like, when the sport really got started, they used to tell you, hey, you're off. Right. You're 10 weeks out. You know, and I feel like as the show, as the sport has grown and we've got more, what I like to call the difference between competitors and athletes, when we got more competitors involved, you try to tell them the truth about their package in that moment in time. And all of a sudden it's a personal attack. This judge hates me. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm not going to go to a show where that judge is going to judge because they hate me. And it's just like, and then they look at their perfect pictures, you know, and they all of a sudden those are getting posted on Instagram against the winner, you know, with no kind of caption trying to show like, I can't believe they tried to say I'm fat. Look at this picture. Wow, that one has a filter on it. You know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
you know, in that moment.
Really contributed to that as well, you know, because even from the judge's perspective, they have these athletes that are going out on social media and, you know, it's you know, when the sport started, we didn't have Instagram. You couldn't go out there and cry, right? You were lucky if maybe there was a magazine that covered your event, but you certainly couldn't cry, oh, this judge wasn't fair, you know? I mean, and it's rare really that I ever see somebody that's crying about being mistreated or misjudged, that it's accurate.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
How about the girls that filter their waistlines?
Oh, God.
Go Goob, right?
I'm like, yeah, right? He's great. I want to touch up real quick on the Masters Olympia. It just got announced.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read off some names and see if any of these people. Well, you guys have seen the list, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, who stands out to you, Mayla, of this list?
We're talking about women's bodybuilding.
The women's bodybuilding.
I'm like, well, the thing is that, you know, I'm excited that to see Roshana on that list. I'm just like, Roshana is one of the ones that I'm really excited about seeing, you know, on the list and everything. But that's the one that stands out the most. I'm like, you know, there are other people that stand out, like Virginia Sanchez.
Yeah.
You know, and of course, who else? Leah. You know, Leah always. I'm like, she's. You know, even though Gina, you can't talk about that. That's gonna be biased. But I'm joking. But I'm just like, you know, I like to see that we've got a really nice array of people. But of that, I'm like, those are the ones that stand out. But of the most, it is Rashana is one that stands out because I feel like I think this is the first time. I want to say this is the first time I think she's done like an international, even though I know she's done Puerto Rico before, but this is the first international. And she has great symmetry, you know, and I know that this is her second year since her shoulder surgery, post shoulder surgery, maybe 2.5. But the thing is that I'm excited to see what she's going to bring for this and everything. So, anyway,
Gina,
yeah,
what do you?
I agree with Rashana, Leah. Yes, even though I'm biased. Virginia, Donna, Saeed.
Oh yes, Donna. Yeah.
So it's great. We have some Olympians, rising phoenix, and high placing athletes. And we've got Sylvia Mata back in the mix, so I'm excited to see her there too.
Yeah.
Well, you guys don't know Maria Segura?
I do not.
I'm like, you know what? I need to.
This
you
girl,
get right off the whole list first.
She's not competed in a long time, but let me tell you, phenomenal legs. She's got the craziest damn quads I've ever seen. I'm excited. She's very feminine looking, big, massive girl. She's not tall. I want to say she's 5'2", maybe 5'3", but she's a powerhouse. That's a name that stand out to me, of course. But anyway, Gina, so who are your thoughts on who can win this show? Who do you think?
I don't know. That's going to be.
I'm going to say Rashana has got a great chance. I think Leah's got a really great chance. Donna's up there too. And there could be some other ones that are kind of some dark horses that maybe haven't competed in some time that might come back and just, bring a great package. So I think it's going to be an amazing show. I think we've got some really good talent, some great.
You know who no one's talking about though?
Jacqueline Fuge. She's on isn't she on the list?
That's another one.
Did I say her last name? Fuge?
Fuchs.
Okay.
Oh, Jay Fuchs. Yes.
Yes.
Fuchs.
She competed last year. I think she did Romania, right?
Yeah, she did.
So Jay, great physique, nice size. I think conditioning was off for her last year, or not so much conditioning, but her peak. She just wasn't full.
Right.
Romania.
I was going to say that.
Done a lot better. So I can absolutely put Jay in that top 5 too.
So nobody's talking about the veteran, one of the, I don't want to say oldest competitors, but she's been around a long time. Michelle Brent.
And that was who I was going to bring up next.
Oh, man.
So Michelle's my athlete. I love her to death.
Oh, you work with Michelle?
I do.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And so I've got both Michelle and Leah in Masters this year. So, props to Michelle. This is, a dream come true for her. She absolutely deserves it. She always brings crazy conditioning. So we're just going to bring the best she can, and we're going to try to get into that top 5. There's younger athletes, and what it comes down to, it's hard to put 65 against. I mean, Rashana's what, 42?
I didn't even know she was that old. I thought she was still a kid, to be honest.
Well, exactly.
I thought the limit was 45.
No, they dropped it to 40.
But either way it goes, I'm like, you're right. I'm like putting 60. But the thing is, like, she always brings crazy conditioning. I'm like, Brent. I'm like, and the thing is, I feel like this is the one sport that, unlike performance-related sports, this is the one sport where that muscle maturity and everything, if you can lock that conditioning down, I'm just like, and you can do that at any age if you can just find the right combination of cardio training and everything for you, for that specific body. And that's why I think, like you were saying, Isabel, is that we got a lot of, this could be anybody's show. I'm like, even though we have some veterans who haven't been on stage for a while, I'm just like, this could be anybody's show. So that's the thing that's, you know, there are people who stand out because we've seen them recently on stage. But that doesn't mean, like you said, Brent and all these other individuals, that doesn't mean that they're not spending all this time, because the announcement of the Master Olympias happened last year.
Right.
You know, that doesn't mean that these people have not been getting ready for this.
Right.
You know? So I'm excited just to see. It could be anybody's show. That top 5 could be anybody. We have no idea what the veterans, how they could be recomping their body. We have no idea how the young ones who maybe can't bring in the best conditioning, if this is their show. So you never know. So it's going to be exciting to see.
So I counted 17 competitors. Let's see. We have Abby GINA'S, if I'm saying that right, Barbara Mugen, Cheryl Mears. If you guys know Cheryl, she's got an incredible story.
Yeah.
Dana Shemesh, Donna Salib, Miss New York Pro winner from last year. Evangelina Guzman. Jacqueline,
oh my God, Angelina, yes.
Yep. Jacqueline Fuchs, Leah Denny, who again, you know, Leah, I don't know, I don't ask her age, but she still brings it. She's got great conditioning.
She brings it. She always, yes, she does.
Yep.
I'm just like.
Lori Conley is a new, I guess this will be her, I'm assuming she's going to make her pro debut here, unless she competes sooner. But Marcela Venegas, which we just seen in the Vancouver Island Showdown.
Right.
Maria Segura, which I said she's something. Michelle Brent, Rashana Boswell. I agree with you, Mayla, that Rashana could take this. It's a good possibility, you know, because she does have a great shape. Sylvia Mata, Tana Huey, my Jamaican friend, which I love very much.
Yeah,
Vera.
I'm excited to see her on stage.
Oh, yeah. She was... So at this last show, she had on her little, you know, Jamaican flag suit, you know, smiling. She's got a great back. Her crazy back. Vera Mikukova. I think the last time we seen her was at Toronto Pro. She came in, I want to say, second a few years ago. Went to the Olympia. I don't know how she placed. But then Virginia Sanchez, who has the craziest arms in women's bodybuilding, I think.
Yes, she does.
You know who's missing from this list, and I'm shocked, is Irene Anderson.
Well, just like, yeah.
I mean, I would think she would do this show. You know what I mean? Because it's right there in her backyard. It's not too far away. You know, but
yeah, I'm kind
of
of surprised. Not that you say that. I'm just like.
So if you guys had to pick a top 3, or let's just pick a winner. I mean, we'll come back to this later in another episode to see if you still feel that way. I'm going to go with you, Gina. If you had to pick a winner. Yep, I'm putting you on the spot.
You are. So, but I have my bias. I'm gonna go with it. I'm going to say Leah's going to do it.
Okay. I can see that. Mayla?
Okay. Because you know, it's just like,
Who is it?
I'm like, I would have to go with Rashana.
Okay.
I would.
All right.
I would have to go with Rashana. I'm just like,
okay.
Kinda.
So I like Rashana and Leah. So
I'm like, because Leah always brings a beautiful look. I'm just like, and technically I'm a little biased because Leah's my friend.
Right.
Leah's my friend, but I'm just like, she always brings a great, her posing is always great. She always brings a great look. You know, she has the muscle belly.
Look what she did at the Rising Phoenix. She came in there. Right. Nobody expected her to place in the top, and she did.
Well, the thing is that because she placed in the top the year before.
Yeah.
She was in the top the year before.
They like her. you know?
I'm not surprised that, she placed in the top. I'm like, but it's that whole thing. It's just like, Rashana's one of those people. I'm just like, when she's on, she's on. I'm just like, the thing is that I feel like she needs to bring her shoulders, her upper body up just a little bit to match the lower body.
Sure.
And she just needs to, but she's got twins. She's got twin babies. So I get the whole thing of the stress and everything. And sometimes I feel like that plays a lot in what level her package is going to be in. But when she's on, it's beautiful. And that's the whole thing. Just like, but like you say, it's just like dealing with that whole traveling kind of thing. And that's what I'm taking in, because I remember when I traveled over to Romania, that's something I didn't anticipate. The amount of time that you're traveling, the time change and everything. It's like, sometimes it's hard trying to get your body to snap back, and if you time it wrong, you don't get it right. And so that's why I'm kind of on the fence about because I look at it, and so there's that whole thing that I look at Virginia Sanchez, and like, she always brings a great look too, but it's hard for me to pick, to be honest with you.
Okay. Why don't you just close your eyes and then just whoever comes to mind, just,
Like you said, we're going to come back to this.
We are.
So if we're saying just across the board.
Just right now, across the board.
Everybody brings their ideal look. I'm going to go with Rashana.
Okay.
So, things might change as I look, because a couple of the veterans that you're talking about, I wasn't aware of them. And so I would like to look at them, I guess, so to speak, to get a more holistic view of the entire lineup. But
well, listen, we haven't seen some of these people compete in a long time, so we don't know what they're going to look like.
Precisely. And so that's the whole thing, is just like to see what the possibilities are, but.
So I'm going to have to go against both of you guys, although I love Leah and I love Rashana. Those are my two picks. I like those two. So I'm going to go totally opposite, and I'm going to go Donna Salib. I'm just going to put that there. Just because. In New York Pro, what she did last year, coming out of the blue and doing very well, I think that, I think she has a shot. Again, I do like, if I had...
Agree with that.
Listen, I think Leah could definitely take it. I think Rashana could definitely take it. But I'm going to go against you two and just go pick somebody else. So I'll go Donna Salib, because I'm sure I'll change it later on. But I want to touch base back on the conditioning thing with you, Mayla, because... you are the queen of conditioning.
No.
Yes, you are, ma'am. Yes, you are. When you won the Omaha with me, you were shredded. And it wasn't like a crazy, it was the beautiful shredded, where you can see you're just posing and you can see every detail. How hard of a prep was that for you? Is it just a piece of cake?
Actually, no. I'm like, and see, the thing is, what's so funny, that's one reason I go back and forth, and my heart goes out to people that are, for lack of a better term, that are inconsistent when it comes to it, because it's before I crossed over to women's bodybuilding in 2019 was the last time I walked away from corporate America. So I'm just like, depending on life and the stressors of life and the sleep and everything, it plays a huge role. And that was one of the problems that I've always had throughout my bodybuilding career, is that I ran a division. I had like 50 employees, and so coming into like a show to qualify for the Olympia, the prep was, I'm not going to say it's easy. It's never been easy, because I'm one of those people, I have to do cardio. I'm not one of those people that I can just wake up and, I have to do the cardio and everything. But I'm like, the amount of work that I feel that should go into a prep, that's the level of work. And so when everything is on point, when I can get the sleep, when I can go ahead and get the rest, and I'm not stressing, I'm like, it flows very well. But the second I get into a place where life stressors start impacting me, and even though I'm a type A, I'm a type A person, but that's the whole thing, is just like, it throws me off. It just throws me off. And there's, as much as you try to fight it, and then, getting sick and then stressing out about trying to get ready for a show, it's like, it cascades. It's just like, oh my God, I'm stressing. I need to stop stressing so I can get, I can look better. I can get more sleep. But that's the whole thing, is just like, I feel like a lot of times we don't take that into consideration with sometimes, especially women. I'm like, we don't take all that aspects into consideration. And so it does make a huge impact. When I find that balance and I do better about that, then yes, I'm like the process becomes a little bit easier. The body responds much better. And so those are the things that I'm learning, is that I have to let go. I have to stop I have to take off my cape. You know, us women, we always try to be that superwoman. We're always trying to be everything for everybody. And I've learned that I've got to reel that back. And I can't be everything to all my clients, to my family, to my friends, and be the best athlete that I feel like I can be. Yeah. And so,
well, you're definitely superwoman, that's for sure.
So, but yes, I'm just like, when I'm on point, it is. I'm like,
it's deadly.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing, but deadly, because you are a big threat in women's bodybuilding, for sure. Especially that tiny 22-inch waist or whatever it is. But
crazy small.
I want to leave it with. I want to leave this with you, Gina, because I have to give you. I don't have much time left, but I have to give you respect. So I know that we just had the announcement of the Masters Olympia. You made a video yesterday. You know, your video and your post, and I give you respect because it's hard. I know that things didn't pan out the way you wanted to, but I respect you because you didn't go on there and, like some people, you know, being pissed off and calling out certain people. You were very supportive of your two teammates, you know. So I just wanted to tell you that I admire that a lot, because you don't really see that in our sport. You know, you see a lot of people just bashing others, and, you know, you didn't do that, though. So
I appreciate that. You know, that doesn't serve a positive purpose. You know, was I disappointed? Yes. But, you know, there's always a positive somewhere. And I had to do some searching and find it. And I did. You know, I was looking at, I coach myself, I coach Leah, I coach Michelle. And managing, peaking the three of us for the same show would have been challenging. You know, they couldn't do it. Something would have suffered, and invariably it would have been my peak, because I would never let my clients' peak suffer.
There you go.
So, you know, so for me, the silver lining is I get to focus 100% on them, and I do another show, you know, and I'll bring my best to that show. So, you know, life is full of ups and downs. You gotta roll with it. You can't, you know, get out there and cry and bitch because it didn't go your way. What's that gonna do? So,
well, there may be a better opportunity down the line as well. One door closes, another one opens, or several open. You know, but I just wanted to.
I'm like, Gina has true sportsmanship, and
yes,
I'm
she
like,
does.
I'm like, she's a true example of being a professional athlete.
Yes.
And so I'm honored to have her as a friend.
Sure,
so it's really good. So.
Well, listen, I just wanted to say that real quick because, again, I have a huge respect for you and what you did. Not a lot of people are like that. So bless you. God bless you for all you do. And that is it for this Fit Rockstar episode. And I will see you ladies again shortly.
Yes.
All right, guys. Fit Rockstar signing off with the beautiful Mayla Ash and Gina Cavallero.
You got it.
Yay! There we go. All right. Till next time, guys.